It's January 14th, 2026. Once again, welcome to YesToHellWith.com. This is an emergency video of sorts, and before anything else, hear this clearly. Do not watch this video alone. Watch the entire video. If this message matters to you, share it immediately with your family, friends, and anyone who still believes free speech and truth matter. And if you are still relying on Facebook as your primary platform, perhaps it's time to move on, perhaps to migrate to X. That is where this work will live if suppression on Facebook continues. This content angers me, and it should anger every red-blooded, patriotic American. And I'll tell you why in a moment. But time matters here, so pay attention. Facebook has quietly ensured that no one new can see the messages and videos on YesToHellWith.com. I've been observing the analytics, and I'll explain that further. Now, Facebook is not doing this because the information on this platform is false, not because it's unlawful, not because it's inconvenient. If you're watching this, it's because you already follow me, and that should alarm you. Watch this video carefully because it explains how censorship actually works and why silence is no longer an accident. If you want to know whether a platform is censoring you, look at who is allowed to see you. Modern censorship does not announce itself. It does not argue. It does not refute. It simply ensures that your voice never reaches anyone new. That is not theory. It is measurable. And that is exactly what the data now shows. I went back and reviewed weeks of video analytics on Facebook, and the pattern is unmistakable. 100% of viewers are existing followers. There are no non-followers watching. There are no new followers watching these videos. There is no organic discovery. That is not normal behavior for a healthy platform, and it explains why there are no new subscribers and why the message is not reaching beyond the existing audience. This is not a technical glitch. It is a structural decision, and it is by design. It is undeniable that we live in a world of bullies and their versions of the truth that they want us to see and hear. In this respect, Facebook operates no differently than the federal government or the IRS. Each exercises power it does not rightly possess. Each proceeds by presumption, not proof, and each relies on that presumption to dictate outcomes rather than allow people to encounter, examine, and enforce what is true. Power always reveals itself through behavior before it ever reveals itself through words. That is why an event from the recent past serves as an apt analogy. At one point, Mark Zuckerberg publicly suggested fighting Elon Musk in the ring. Now, whatever one thinks of either individual, that event revealed something important about power and psychology. Those who feel the need to demonstrate strength often do so symbolically. They seek visible contests, they posture, they look for validation through spectacle. They crave acceptance by others because at the core, they do not accept themselves. This behavior is not rare. It is not new. It is no different than when a nerd, dork, or geek, choose the term you desire, suddenly comes into money and mistakes wealth for transformation. Money does bring access to power, but it does not bring character. The desire is not to belong in a healthy or balanced way. It is to replace the bully by becoming a better bully, all the while remaining exactly who he has always been. This dynamic is familiar. It resembles the transformation of an outsider who suddenly acquires wealth or status and mistakes access to power for strength itself. The outward confidence masks inward insecurity. Challenges are issued not from mastery, but from the need to be seen as formidable. Now, apply that psychology not to a person, but to a platform run by that kind of person. Facebook's power was not earned through principled debate in a public square. It was accumulated through scale and control of access. And with that power, the platform does not need to announce confrontation with its users. It does not need to argue. It does not need to persuade. It simply acts, and it acts in the background. That is what quiet, algorithmic suppression is. Power exercised without confrontation, without explanation, and without accountability. Facebook now functions for all practical purposes as a modern public square. Political, legal, and civic ideas are exchanged there. When visibility is selectively restricted, as in the case of yes2hellwith.com, not because content is unlawful, but because it is inconvenient, the exchange ceases to be fair and ceases to be transparent. In that sense, the conflict is not between individuals. It is between centralized power like Facebook and the public. Ask yourself this. If Mark Zuckerberg were to walk into any town square in any city in America where citizens were openly discussing ideas, opinions, and matters of public concern, who among us would tolerate him stepping forward and declaring what may or may not be said? Who among us would allow him to silence discussion about corruption in local, state, or federal government simply because he disapproved of the content? Who among us would grant any credibility at all to a private individual, regardless of wealth, who claimed the authority to suppress civil speech, dictate acceptable narratives, or decide which truths may be spoken aloud? No one would. And yet that is precisely what is being tolerated digitally. And this is not conjecture. Facebook has already admitted to suppressing political speech. It reduced distribution of the Hunter Biden laptop story during the 2020 election after warnings from federal authorities, later acknowledging the suppression occurred without verification and that the story was authentic. It coordinated content moderation decisions with government agencies during COVID, suppressing or demoting dissenting views later acknowledged as legitimate. It openly uses demotion and reach reduction, quiet censorship without notice or explanation, as standard practice. These are admissions by Facebook. There is another dimension to this. As a former Army intelligence officer, I was trained not to ask just what is happening, but why, and what the ultimate objective is. In that light, the real question becomes, what is the ultimate casualty of censorship carried out through proxies like Facebook? Through the Liberty Dialogues, for example, ChatGPT has already conceded, based upon structure and definition, that the federal income tax system operates through fraudulent presumption rather than proven jurisdiction. That's an AI admission. More recently, AI acknowledged that the Liberty Dialogues framework has taken on a life of its own, even refining the relationships between presumption, authority, status, and standing without my prompting. Think about that for a moment. This matters. It means the framework is self-reinforcing. It clarifies itself under scrutiny. And once an idea reaches that stage, it becomes very difficult to stop. That raises a credible concern, the possibility that the Liberty Dialogues could be targeted for removal from distribution platforms such as Amazon.com and Facebook. And government that cannot tolerate AI affirming the coherence of such a framework will not debate it. It will attempt to contain it and destroy it. Whether Facebook's actions are directly coordinated toward that end remains formally unproven, but patterns matter. Suppress visibility first, isolate distribution next, eliminate access last. If the Liberty Dialogues were false, they would be attacked openly. If they were weak, they would be ignored. Instead, they are being buried. Now contrast all of this with Elon Musk. Musk stepped into the arena with the largest bully of all, the federal government. He bought Twitter. He dismantled internal controls, exposed coordination, and disrupted systems designed to suppress free speech quietly. In that sense, Elon Musk is the victor. He chose confrontation over compliance. Zuckerberg chose the opposite. That is the difference between a victor and a coward. Now here's the final word, and this is urgent. Do not keep this video to yourself. There are no new followers that are going to see this video on Facebook. That should anger you. Send these Yes to Hell with videos to your friends and families, and do it now. Truth only survives when people act before it's too late. When power is confident, it tolerates scrutiny. When power is insecure and corrupt, it suppresses, and it does so very, very quietly. And as always, may truth reign supreme.